Welcome to today's session where we're going to talk about how to automate SAP solutions utilising an AI-based capability. Now, if you've got any questions as we go through today's session, then please do put them in the chat session and chat window, and we will look at answering them at the end. So my name is Becky Weather, and I'm one of the senior product managers within OpenText. I'm joined here today also by David Grant, who, from a pre-sales point of view, will also talk you through some of our AI technologies around automation.
Good morning, everyone.
So first off, let's just look at the complexity of the SAP ecosystem. So SAP is an ever-increasing, large and complex ecosystem, and it doesn't exist in its own right. So when you talk about SAP, SAP is one part of really a far wider, obviously, environment. So with the complexity of systems that are integrated and intertwined, technologies, some of these may be standard out the box, others of them may be custom. Now, the key thing is that every customer is unique and has their own challenges, the business processes, legacy, data, locations, innovation. And so therefore, nothing can be taken for granted when you're talking about an SAP implementation and how SAP is implemented within your organization. So the key thing here is understanding then how you're able to deal with not only SAP, but again, that wider ecosystem from your testing needs. Now, another thing that really in the drive of how SAP is moving forward that has to be taken into account is SAP is very much moving to a high cadence release cycles in how it is that they're releasing. So that move from ECC through to S/4HANA and the move from on-prem to cloud is really means a big change from a tester's perspective. So rather than 6 monthly or yearly releases that on-prem customers were more likely to be doing, the SAP release cycles, you're going to need to see far more frequent deployed changes, far more smaller changes, but you need to have that higher cadence in how it is that you're dealing with your testing. Now, the key thing, and we talk about this across all technologies, and it's something that we've talked about for the last 20 plus years, if not more. And the challenges that are faced with in an SAP modernization, but also really in any kind of releasing of software, modernization of software, is that balance and that triangle of how you deal with risk, how you deal with time, how you deal with costs. You don't have unlimited time, you don't have unlimited budget. But the key thing is it's about mitigating the risk to the organization within the appropriate time and within the costs that you can achieve for that project. Now, there's some critical answers that have to be considered with regards to the testing effort and the knowledge that you need and the insight as to why it is and what it is that you're doing. And these real 5 questions are, what is it that you need to test? So basically you're testing what matters most to the business. And this is the job of the tester and the experiences to making that decisions to go live and about how you report in a meaningful way. The active checking, so manual testing can be slow. You need to automate. And what it is important is the automation is robust and it actually is repeatable and reusable. And so the key thing there is to make it easy for how you speed and create your automation. From a SAP point of view, it's about ensuring that it meets the needs in the real world conditions and the system will respond as you expect. There's many different layers of interdependent technology and customizations that could affect performance. So it's really about making sure that you understand and ensure that your user experiences need be. Now with this, it's about the security as well. So checking that the code you're customizing for the security vulnerabilities and that you have a tool that is going to allow you to really test and ensure the security. It's about then understanding, well, when is good enough? When have you actually finished? How you actually tie all of this together with all the efforts, the collaborations from third party into a single place to really have that visibility. And it's really then about how we provide the solutions that meet all of these areas. And in the prior session that we ran earlier this week, we talked about certain technologies from the ALM through to ValueEdge. And here, again, it's just about understanding what to test, the requirements, how you integrate. You heard the other day how we talked about we can bring the information across from SAP with regards to your business process hierarchy. So it's about then driving your testing according to need. We talked about automation at a high level, and you'll hear far more today. We've got the traditional point from a UFT One point of view, but then through into the automation with Codeless and to our cloud automation solution with functional tests as part of ValueEdge. We have the load runner family that really will ensure does it perform and it meets the performance needs. Fortify enables you to embed application security into your code base. So to have that confidence in the security of what you're delivering. And ultimately then that end-to-end management, whether it be from an ALM point of view to give that centralized collaboration, or from a ValueEdge point of view to really allow you to manage that DevOps and end-to-end process. So the key thing here, and what we'll talk about more today, is, a new wave of testing possibilities is upon us. And it really is making sure that as organizations move forward from on-premise through to cloud, that we have the necessary solutions to really support those organizations' needs. So it's about having cloud and browser-based automation, intelligent scripting, lowering the cost of adoption, being able to have the on-demand device clouds for your necessary mobile testing. So not only physical, but you can expand to on-demand. Model-based testing, understanding the business processes and how that comes on board with, potentially bringing in from the process mining from a Signavio point of view. Codeless by choice, lower the cost of entry to bring the business users in. So really, have that flexibility as to whether you're using technical or more business resource. And again, then being able to execute from the cloud, but also when, say, from within your environment. So it's about having the cloud and AI-based test automation to really give you that flexibility and drive to meet your organization's needs. So I'm going to hand over now at this point to Davey, who's going to now talk you through in more detail around the automation.
Thanks, Becky. Yeah. So let me share how we can help you in test automation specifically for SAP. And based on the previous slide, we're kind of going to drill down on some of those aspects during this brief presentation. So before I would delving into SAP testing, I always like to show this Forrester Wave market analysis for test automation. So this is the market analysis for continuous testing platforms, we achieve both leader and the strongest in the strategy areas. So upper right quadrant, where you want to be. And this came about as these three key findings that you can see here. So we've strengthened in the areas such as customer engagement and product overlaps. Top ranking is due to renewed focus on the product execution and innovation, and you'll see that innovation, particularly in the AI area in the presentation. Thirdly, importantly, is we got this recognition through our SAP capability. This was a critical factor in achieving this score, and we're quite proud of it. It's something I want to share because we're proud of achieving it, and hats off to our product team to get here. So for test automation, we have different choices for customers depending on the user. So automation users have all got different requirements. And if we look at this here on the left-hand side, which we say is shift left, so we've got UFT developer, typically for a highly technical developer. Then at the center we have automations, test automations specialists, perhaps familiar with UFT One, or perhaps other program languages. And then at the other end of the spectrum, we've got shift right. Sometimes it's called, then it's subject matter experts. So they know the application under test. It could be BAs with non-technical guys. It could be SAP specialists. So at the core of all this, we have UFT One. This is our test automation tool. This can already support you in SAP testing journey through its traditional recording and scripting methods. what we've added to this is AI, artificial intelligence, and actually we released it in around about 2020 was when the first PABS. It was a beta version, but it's been enhanced, and it can help with your SAP testing as it accelerates and simplifies all the related functional testing with one intelligent solution that automates testing for SAP using the embedded native AI-based capabilities. So for subject matter experts, we also have a ValueEdge solution on the top right to support codeless scripting. So this is it's for anyone, but particularly for non-programmers, non-technical guys, they can use a codeless interface with natural language and no code. So as it stands, UFT has its own direct integration into SAP Solution Manager Test Suite. This is certified by SAP. So this is simple to set up, quick to start using, meaning you can create, store, edit, and execute UFT scripts from Solution Manager. Plus it contains the ability to pass test results and bidirectional parameters as part of the integration. This ensures that your tests in Solution Manager and UFT are always in sync. So from the diagram, I can pull a test from Solman, make some changes, save it, run it, and the execution results are all saved back into Solman. So what SAP technologies currently UFT One supports? So it's got extensive support for all of these SAP technologies: SAP Fiori, SAP GUI, WebDyn Pro, NetWeaver, Ariba, Success Factors, and all of the above. So this is GUI testing or UI testing. In addition to SAP user interface testing, UFT One supports APIs like SOAP, OData, RFC, and iDocs. All of this is with one tool, no add-ons, no additional costs, so it comes all out of the box. So we've mentioned we introduced AI. How will it support test automation for SAP, and what does a AI-based test authoring look like? So here we've got a couple of examples on the left. So the left one is SAP Web, SAP Fiori, perhaps. It could even be a SAP mobile application. On the right is what we have is a SAP GUI. So UFT One combines AI, object recognition, object interaction, natural language script creation to allow tests to be quickly written and executed on multiple different platforms without requiring any modification. So the aim of UFTI is to increase the test accuracy, the resiliency, and the velocity, the speed of the test creation. So in both SAP applications, you can see we have objects. On the left-hand side, there's objects highlighted in red and blue. This has been done UFT's AI object detection service. So in the web application, it's a snapshot of UFTI of test steps being recorded. Ideally, we would like to demo this bit in the time today, and I've included some screenshots. So those objects in red, these are identified as visual elements, so recognized as you and I would. We also have blue highlighted, and this is visible text. So AI identifies either a visual element or a visible text. Either it's got both options. And then this on the web screen, we're actually recording a script in this instance, so we can capture a step. So in this example, I think it's reject the document. We can click on that. It would record that step, update the script, and then bring in the new image of the application, and we would repeat that. So no, this is also we can also add checkpoints during this process. So it's ideally we want to script once, replay all the tests seamlessly across the leading browsers, browser versions, including Chrome, Edge, Firefox, Edge. So tests can be recorded in one browser, and the same script can be used with no adaptations to test multiple browsers and configurations. If desired, the same test can cover all the different browsers by having each test iteration executed in different browsers with one report covering all of these different browser test flow status and the different configurations. The same applies to SAP GUI, and this is what you see on the right-hand side. So here, what we see is visual elements, so everything's in red. You can see there's a checkbox in the top left-hand side where we can actually choose, do we want to see visual elements or text only? In this scenario, where it's not using the record method, but this is what we call inspection mode. So with inspection mode, rather than record from a live application, with inspection mode, we've got an option to choose a live application, but if the application's not available, then we can use an image of the application, so a mock-up. So again, we inspect the application, we decide which step do we want to add to the test. So from a non-technical user's point of view, if they know the application and the different steps, they can bring up the application and add test steps to the script to be executed later. So behind all of this detection is our AI artificial object detection service. So this, it's a service which provides UFT One's AI capabilities. So it's computational intensive, so we do recommend that you use a powerful computer to benefit from these features. So you would installing UFT One remote AI service in a powerful computer, slightly beefier spec compared to UFT. But we also have a AI cloud service where if you switch, you can hook into our cloud service. So this gives you an idea of what is a script view, because we say it's easier, quicker to script, but what is it, an actual script? So this demonstrates an example of that. So this is your familiar SAP GUI window for creating a sales order. So as per the previous slide, the items highlighted in red are those that AI is detected as visual elements. So we see here, we're doing a recording. So as we click in script, it populates UFT with quite a simple script in the lower window. It's still VB script, but however, you can see in the line of script at the bottom, each line starts with this UFT AI, telling UFT, use the AI to detect the text box. And then in the similar lines, you can see find the text box, sales organization, type this into it, distribution, type 10 into it. So all that, it's VB script, very simple to read and maintain. And again, it's all these objects have been detected with AI. Note also, in addition to AI, the traditional style of UFT One, of an object repository, you can still use this. You can still use descriptive programming if needed. So you can combine them both, or you can head straight into AI. If you're looking something even simpler, something codeless, as we mentioned, written in natural language, then we support this through our ValueEdge functional test solution. I'll cover this in a few minutes. You'll see an example to that. So from before we had the shift left, highly technical users, and then we have the codeless for everyone, but could be using for non-technical users. So that's this code. Let's see where codeless fits into SAP testing. So codeless testing is provided as part of our ValueEdge functional test solution. ValueEdge, it's a one-stop shop for all testing needs and a cloud-based platform, so SaaS. And it consists of these main elements. It has the AI object detection, as we've seen with UFT, so we've embedded that in your cloud platform. We have a digital lab to provide provision browsers to test your application or provision mobile devices. We have an execution part where we can take the tests that we've created and execute those and schedule tests. We have model-based testing, MBT, which we'll dive into in a moment. This is where it allows you to create tests from a diagram or a model, drag and drop different test components or test units. And we're going to look at that in a SAP context. And design, this is where we're going to look at creating these codeless scripts. So similar to UFT One, with codeless, we can create scripts through recording the steps. So, and again, similar, we would use the AI object detection. So this is a sample of a web application. We've created a few lines of codeless script here, and this is created again automatically. It's created an automatic script written in plain English. So it's true codeless scripting. It's not masking of complicated code. It's using our AIOD where we identify the application objects just as you and I would. And to make things simple and as visual as possible, these AI codeless tests, these are all saved in model-based testing in our ValueEdge platform in the cloud. The codeless tests themselves, these can be still run in the design part, or they can use to be part of a test suite. So here you can see an example, very simple English type or into the order type. So this is only a few lines just to give you to share a sneak peek for a better word what actually codeless will look like. So let's talk about model-based testing, again, part of the elements of ValueEdge functional testing. So this is a way, model-based testing, it's a way to bring in pre-existing models from whatever source and use them in an accelerated way, preferably automated, but they can start as manual tests and then we can convert them to automated using our tools. So to give more insight to MBT, this is our user journey. So we create a model on a canvas. This model can be drawn manually, much like a flowchart, creating the different components, or in this case, in the example we can see, we can actually pull up in BPN models. So we link existing tests or create tests for the model. The test can be both codeless, as shown earlier, or UFT tests stored in a Git repository. So once we have the model created, we tell what coverage strategy we have. So different models will have different processes and flows. So we have to say, well, what do we want to test? Which path do we want the tests to be created? So we can choose full coverage to test all paths, agile based. We can select every junction, or we can even manually draw a specific path. Once we have that strategy defined, we say, okay, let's generate a model-based test to support this path. With the test created, we then just use that in a test suite and execute this in the ValueEdge cloud platform. These MB tests can be reused, and MBT actually recognize if you define a path which is previously been defined, then it would say you can't use it. We've already got a test, so saving time and duplication ever. So to summarize what MBT isn't, it's not like a competitor's, it's not a marketing name, it's not a different name for a standard part of a test automation tools like an object repository. What it is true model-based testing. It's an editor and importer for business processes through the standard BPM notation. It's a model that is the basis of the creation of automated tests. It's used to show and aid testers understanding of the actual business flows and automatically create a test hierarchy. It's a faster way to test by reusing models to create these tests. Just looking at MBT in a SAP solution context, so we can take BPN files from SAP, Signavio, and Celonis into our model-based test solution. So SAP Signavio is a SAP product for business process intelligence. It allows SAP customers to mine processes from existing users to manage and govern those process stages and improvement. Signavio allows them these processes and flows to be exported into business process modeling notation, BPMC. It's a standard format for moving such data. So both Celonis and Signavio, both powerful process mining and automation tools. And again, we can take these BPN files from both of these and import them into model-based testing. SAP themselves have published a whole bunch of BPN notation for best practices, sometimes called SAP Activate. These can be imported. SAP has created standard processes for this standard format. So MBT is a way of bringing these pre-existing models from an existing source, using those in an accelerated way to create tests, perhaps first manually, but ultimately automated. And so what does it look like if we want to drill down? What does it look like in MBT? And briefly, so here's an example. So in this example, we have SAP Signavio models on the left-hand side. of our model-based testing. Indeed, there are other folders there, SAP Activate or SAP Best Practices. So as I say, we can bring these from any repository that allows that BPM notation. So on the right, you can see for that one that's been selected, there's already a model there. So once we have that model, if I drill down in a model, this is an example of that. So this has already been imported. What we have is a canvas showing the different flows. So this canvas was imported, but I can adapt that. We can drag and drop different elements. We can create branches and create a slightly different or enhanced flow. Where you see something is blue, these are completed items. Grey is work to do items. But in this example where you see grey, what we can do here is I can click on this grey item. We can create a test, click on the item, go straight into Codeless and create that test for that particular unit. Or we can use existing tests there. So very easy to import, very easy to build manually. So what happens once we've defined this model-based testing? So what we do here is we then define a strategy. So you simply click on this option. We've got the option, this is the model we have. We create this coverage strategy, and then we say, okay, what strategy do we want? Full coverage? Do we want to agile base? So we can select every junction combination in the model. So once we have that strategy defined, we simply press a button and it generates automatically these MBT tests to support the path. So this is an example of that here. Once we have these MBTs, you can see here we have covered tests in the middle. I can take these tests, put them into a regression pack, a test suite, and execute those tests in ValueEdge in our cloud-based solution. Once these are executed, then we simply view those results in ValueEdge test results. So what's the difference of our model-based testing? So it aligns functional test activities with business requirements. So let's test what matters. Use easy to understanding a graphical model of the enterprise business processes through these BPNs. Employ smart coverage strategies for optimal test case design. Connect the models and tests to agile work items such as features and defects. Include manual tests, UFT One integration tests, AI codeless tests. We can create these models from bespoke tools or from the SAP tools as shown here. What does it actually look like? So ValueEdge functional test, it's a cloud-based platform. You can see here on the left, we've got the different modules of ValueEdge available. There's the part we've been discussing is the functional part. So that's available as standalone. And ValueEdge, just to mention, it's built up of different modules. You don't have to have them all. You use just what you need. So we can start with functional testing. We can add an agile module, a quality module. But as we need it, we build upon that. Even performance testing we can include it as part of that ValueEdge platform. So what can it do for us? Just as an example from real live case studies, 70% more reduction in maintenance costs, 30% increase in automation, 3 times better increase in test development speed, but importantly, we can extend the reach now of test automation so everyone in the team can test. And we've got a case study we can share if there's interest from a customer that's using UFT AI. Conscious of time, just one last final slide before we can take some questions, or if there's some there, as this is a reference from one of our existing customers who's been using UFT AI testing SAP Fiori applications. So object recognition is great. Test that doesn't need deep test automation knowledge, makes it easier to assign tests, and ultimately makes it easier to create test scripts and scale our effort. So that comes to the end. Lots of information. So happy to take some questions.
Perfect. Thank you, Davey. So we've got 1 minute left. So let's just have one very quick question. I think one of the questions is, how can you utilize what we may have as existing UFT scripts and expand these to obviously include AI? So appreciate very quick answer.
Yep.
Short time to you.
Okay, so UFT has an option, and instead of running the tests that get test results, there's an option to run AI Transformation Assistant, where you can execute the test, and it'll give you options how to change your script to add the AI util lines in the script. So it'll give recommendations, or you can simply just go and record the script because it's pretty straightforward.
Brilliant. So there is a path forward UFT to encompass UFT, and I think that's great. We've obviously had many other questions come in. We will reach out to you all following today's session to make sure that obviously we respond to you all. We have got a session running on Tuesday, the 12th of December at 11 a.m, where we'll be looking at how to deal with the testing for SAP with our performance tools. So please do look at joining that session. And again, thank you very much for your time today and joining today's session. Thank you.
Thanks, Vicky.